Hey guys, we're back doing our gold recovery from scrap electronics. Just going to get straight into it. We have just over a kilo of PCB boards here, and we are going to do a 2-to-1 ratio approximately of muriatic acid, also known as hydrochloric acid, and hydrogen peroxide. So main thing, wear a respirator, a quality respirator for this, especially for steps after this. It can get very not fun. Other than that, it's pretty simple. You just pour. Just be careful. Wear some type of gloves, especially gloves that come above your wrist if you can find them. Do not use the yellow dish gloves. Those will dissolve in the chemicals. And just wear iPro. Make sure you don't get it splashed anywhere. I mean, if you get a little acid on you, it's not the end of the world. You're not going to die. But like if you drop a whole beaker and it splashes on your face, that's going to be a bad time. So let's get right into it. We have a beaker here where we can measure. And so we're doing 2 parts muriatic acid to 1 part hydrogen peroxide. I am a little short on hydrogen peroxide and where I'm going to run out. So I am going to pour that first. Okay, so we've got our first batch of hydrogen peroxide. And another thing, when we pour this, I'm not too worried about the hydrogen peroxide, but you don't want to just dump it in and have it splash. You want to be really careful about how you pour it. So I did that much hydrogen peroxide, so I'm going to double the amount of muriatic acid. I'm being very careful when I pour this. I do not want to hover myself over and breathe it in. That's no bueno. And I'm probably going to need to put more than this in here. I'm just doing it one step at a time to make sure I get my ratios correct. It doesn't have to be exact, but it should be relatively close. So notice how I'm pouring nice and gentle light close to the boards. So right now the reaction's going to start. So you may start seeing some stuff, and I'll show a better angle. We still got some filling up to do. So we're going to do that same amount one more time and see where that puts us. Being very careful with my pour. Patience is a virtue here. Patience and gentleness. You don't want to go all willy-nilly into it, that's for sure. And I'm being really gentle with my pour too. I don't want this going everywhere. See, this would be the part I would worry about, is taking this beaker and accidentally dropping it and it shattering and spraying in me or something. That would be a bad time. So I just take my time. A gentle pour. And that's got us most of the way there. We're going to do what should be one last mix just to make sure. Ooh, exactly at that line. Looks like I had just enough hydrogen peroxide. And last but not least, our last little dose of muriatic acid. I did have some issues finding muriatic acid at first. A lot of like the home improvement stores and stuff, some people use it for like pool. And see, I'm not paying attention and I was just about to short myself. A lot of people use it for pool cleaning type stuff. I had gone around to like all the big box stores and stuff, and I had a really hard time finding it. Where I found it was just the local Ace Hardware, and I mean, I think that whole jug was like $10 maybe. And hydrogen peroxide you can find any sort of pharmacy, grocery store. Okay, so we had just enough. Now, one thing I would like is to have, I'm just going to move these fingers into here. One thing I would like to have is a air supply going into this, generally like a aquarium aerator. I had one and it went kablooey, so at least this is not going to start with one. I'm just going to excuse me, come in every day and stir it around, agitate it. You can see some bubbles forming. And why don't we go ahead and move closer to see this reaction. I mean, it's not going to be anything crazy, but you can see the bubbling going on here. You can see some fizzing, and to the best of my understanding, what this does is it just dissolves some of the base metals that the gold is it dissolves some of the base metals that the gold is attached to. I think generally it's mostly copper and nickel. It dissolves those, and once those dissolve, the gold falls away. Really, this is basically it. I'm going to take a little bit of this solution and I'm going to put it in this beaker with the fingers, and this beaker with, I think those are mostly SIM cards and a few other chips. These won't need very much. And what we're going to do is we're going to store it away for about a week, and then we'll come check back on it. I usually will come out and stir it at least once a day, especially when I'm really excited like I am now. I'm going to want to come see it first thing in the morning and see how it's doing, but it's going to take time. This is one of those, patience is very much a virtue type thing. I'll show you my setup real quick. I apologize for the unprofessional camera work. So, because of where I live and the situation I'm in, I don't have like a big garage or anything to put this in, nothing with like a vent hood. Man, I wish I had a vent hood, that'd be great. And I definitely am really concerned with the fumes, so I don't want them, in the house anywhere. Don't want my dog to get in them, don't want my wife to get into them. So I keep this outside. Now, unfortunately, also outside, I do not have any sort of overhang, no unfinished garage. It's just pure sky. So what I have done in the past is I've had this like little tote that you get from like Home Depot or something, and I just stick it in there and I throw the top on it and I put it under the deck, under the stairs on the deck, and that keeps it out of the rain so no water gets in, and it also makes sure to keep any animals out. I can't imagine animals would want to get into it just because of how noxious the fumes are, but I have a dog. I definitely don't want her to get into it, or God forbid spill it or anything, Jesus. And then even squirrels and stuff, I don't want any chance of that happening. Like I said, I can't imagine they would get into it, just how noxious the fumes are, but better safe than sorry. So I just stick it in here and I put my lid on and throw it under there, and it just goes to town. You can see that hose is from the aerator I used to have. So one piece of advice that I found out is, so when you put this in here and you throw the lid on, these fumes are going all over, and these fumes are very corrosive to the metals. And inside that aerator is a bunch of electric motor metal parts that don't like to be destroyed. And so I had the motor, the aerator motor, in the tub, and over time it just stops working because I'm sure the metals inside are dissolving. And it was just a stupid thing I didn't think about at the time. So if I can get another one, I would probably put it outside the tub and just drill a small hole through the side and run the tube through the side. That way it can get oxygen into the solution for the reaction and not destroy the motor. Other than that, off camera, I'm just going to put a little bit of that solution in those other two beakers. And I'm going to come back every day, do a little stirring, and have a lot of patience. The longer you let it wait, the more time it has to do its thing. One other thing, just to throw it out there, you will notice this solution will darken. Like right now, it's like a really almost neon green. It will darken over time as the metals dissolve in it and go into solution. After cleaning out these boards really good, I'm really excited and thinking that I'm not gonna have a lot of the issues I had last time with contaminants, because it's just, I think the main thing I will find in the bottom is gold flakes and pieces of the green film off the PCB boards. I think everything else will not be there, so that'll be great. And let's just take you a little freehand for a second.